Good afternoon, world. It's moments past noon in Waxahachie, Texas, deep in the heart of the Lone Star State. Today is October 17th, 2024, and this is the 10th, count them 10. We are now using two hands,
Yeah,
double
amazing.
digits, 10th edition of Grit and Good News. We're broadcasting live from our palatial, if I might say it, if you're a regular listener, maybe you get tired of it, but it's a little palace for us here.
Yeah.
Studio on the second floor in the shadows of the historic Ellis County Courthouse. I'm your co-host, Jeff Lynch, and it gives me great pride, pleasure, and honor to introduce our host, my man, Scott Brooks. Tell him what
Brother,
we're all
thank you,
about,
thank
and
you,
don't
thank you,
forget
thank
to
you.
tell them all of the ways that
Yep.
we can
So
go.
welcome to Grit and Good News. Grit and Good News is a locally owned, produced show. Jeff and I are pals and are like-minded in most cases, but in some ways we disagree, which will come out on this show just when you least expect it, maybe. But we're happy to be here. This is our 10th show, as you just heard. This show is a place for you to be able to come and learn something new, share something new, offer your opinion in a safe way. We may not agree, but we're never going to attack anybody.
Yes, sir.
This is a place to first talk about current events, state events, national events, you name it. We want to talk about a lot
We
of
like to
different
get some
things.
sports in there.
We'll get some sports in there. We're going to talk about some sports later in the show today. We're on every Tuesday and Thursday from noon until 1 o'clock. And again, you can reach us, watch us via Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, and Instagram. So hello, Instagram. You're on that camera over there, and everybody else is on our other camera. And then we have a call in. You can call us. Our phone number is right up there above the elephant. If you're not watching and you're just listening, Jeff will tell you our phone number
It
is
is, and it remains 972 268 9441, 972 268 9441. And if you want a weather report, you just go to your dictionary and look up the word perfect. And that is us in Waxahachie, and we are rolling
yes,
in fall.
yeah,
And
it's
who does
beautiful.
not love fall?
Yeah, it brings out the quarter zips, right?
Quarter zips.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
sir.
it's awesome weather out there, and grateful for that. So we're also giving away the remaining tickets that we have, which are 5 tickets for the state fair. The state fair ends this Sunday. So after the show, we will go back and read all the comments, and we will, along with Sammy, our wonderful producer. I got to remember to mention Sammy. He'll weigh in every so often when he has something good, positive, important,
I know 4 people
controversial
that
to
we've
say.
given tickets to that are at the fair today on this
Nice.
perfect
This will be
day.
a great day to be there. But
Yeah.
we have 5 tickets. We're going to give away all 5 to one person today. So
It's the mother
later
load. It's the mother load.
you'll have to go to the Waxahachie Sun Facebook page and you will be notified. We'll post the winner there and you can go have some fun. I think it's supposed to be nice on Sunday. I
Yep.
think it's supposed to be nice through the weekend, and then next week is going to warm up a little bit, but we are in fall
But not
in Texas.
overwhelming.
No,
It'll be
no,
nice. Just be
in the
nice.
80s,
Yep.
things like that. So we've got a lot to talk about today. We're going to start with the idea, the notion of a warrior. And the name or the word or the description warrior, Jeff's going to read you the definition in just a second, but I've been on this thing now for several years where I believe society is at a place in history where the good kind of warriors are not only necessary, but it's gotten to a point where if good warriors for good, another way of saying it, don't start being real warriors, that society's just gonna the negative parts of society just going to continue to overwhelm us. And we're already being overwhelmed in many cities and states in this country. We don't want Waxahachie to be drowning in the bad essence of society. So we need warriors. So what just to get started, what is a warrior, the actual definition
Well,
of a warrior?
Merriam-Webster says warriors are engaged or experienced in warfare, but more broadly, engaged in struggles or conflict. And I was thinking as I was walking over here, why did I not take the time to look up all the sports teams that have warriors
Yeah.
in their name?
Right.
Okay, so they're not in warfare,
Right.
but they are engaged in a struggle or a
Yeah.
conflict, you know?
And that's the point. And so it's like in Sunday school class the other day, one of our sweetest members said in prefacing her remarks about what we were talking about, which were warriors.
Hmm.
She said, "I'm not a warrior. I tend to be quiet and I tend to do things behind the scenes, and I'm more
Hmm.
comfortable with that." And I said, "You know what? No way am I disagreeing with what you think of yourself, but I
Right.
just want to encourage you to think of yourself as a warrior, insofar as you have a purpose, you have a mission, you have an objective, and you are going to achieve it come hell or high water. It could be getting a choir arrangement set up every Sunday or whatever, but the
Yeah.
warrior part is that you commit yourself to it and then do everything that you can ethically, morally, legally right, and you don't stop."
Yeah. And in warfare, I mean, there's a guy cooking food,
Yeah,
and there's a guy
that's right.
cleaning dishes,
That's
okay,
right.
and there's a guy cleaning toilets, and
Yeah,
there's i- i- in all struggles or conflicts, you've got people uh, that are the headline people and people behind the scenes that are getting it done,
right.
and that's
Exactly.
that's what that's
They're
what
warriors.
that's what she is and doesn't know.
That's right.
Yeah,
And so I was gently trying to tell her that. So Sammy's going to show us, we're going to begin with what most of us think of as warrior before Sammy shows you this video. I one of the most common warrior, because you mentioned in the first part of that definition, is thought of as someone being in combat,
sure,
in war, and certainly those are warriors. Those are the most
they're the first
visible,
ones.
yeah, the first, the most visible, the most instinctively we go to warrior, somebody in combat. But I want to show you, we want to show you some other types of warriors, and then we want to kind of bring that home and tell you why we're talking about it today. So, Sammy, show us the first warrior that a lot of people do think of. Yep.
Destroyed. Finally, in minute 25, Holloway shows some mortality. Look at this. Holloway just told him, stand right here. Oh, big connection late.
Yeah, so you get the idea. You can hear the announcers. I think that's Joe Rogan. You can move on. I think that's Joe Rogan in the background, but you can hear those announcers screaming how incredible the punch was, or the leg kick, or the broken face, or the blood that's everywhere. That's, if we were to see that fight and we were watching it together, and at the end of it, we said we would say, "Man, those dudes are warriors.
Amen.
They are beating the you know what at each other. Those are warriors." And yeah, those are warriors. Those guys are in a fight. Their purpose is to win, and some of them will get the life beat out of them and still not go down and still not give up. And sometimes, we've seen matches where they're corners. And you don't have a corner in an octagon, but in a boxing ring, they'll throw in the towel. And the fighter who's delirious is like, "No, don't throw in the towel."
And the great Muhammad Ali
Yeah.
invented the technique of the
The
rope a
rope a
dope.
dope. Yeah.
He just put his arms up there and just
Yeah.
let
Go ahead. Beat me.
hit
You
me all
know?
you want, Joe Frazier, and just wear yourself out,
All right.
and
So
then I'm coming back.
that's right. That's one form of warrior. Up next to soldier, I would say that's the most common definition or thought we have about warriors when we just instinctively consider it. But I'm going to show you a few more. So one of my favorite commentators in the world today is Harris Faulkner. Many of you may have seen or aware of her. She's an African American lady. She's on Fox. She's very professional, very smart, uh, very polite, but she has no problem mixing it up, but she does it in her own way, kind of like what I was talking about with the lady in Sunday school class. So Harris Faulkner, she wrote a book. What's the name of the book, Sam? Yeah, Nine Rules. So she's talking about how she engages people in discourse, and she's very effective. She comes on during the day, but Harris Faulkner is another type of warrior, insofar as she's committed to having an impact on communicating and on discourse. And if you've seen her interview Trump, or anybody else that she interviews, she's dogged about it in her own way. But she is also a warrior. Let's take many people refer to Trump these days as a warrior, and I would say he meets the definition of a warrior. Here's this one of the saddest days we've experienced in the past decade, on July the 13th, of seeing Trump on stage.
Oh, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Yeah. So there you see Trump. He ran from 2015. He came down what people call the golden escalator at Trump Tower in 2015 to announce that he was running for presidency in 2016. Was president from then until 2020. Lost that race. Has been through hell since. I would argue he was put through hell during his presidency. Two impeachments, so on and so forth. Many investigations. He's been through hell since then, and he's running again. And now, in the ultimate sense of a warrior, it's no different than those fighters that we're talking about who are getting the life beat out of them. They're saying, no, I'm getting up and I'm going forward. Trump was shot and says, I'm carrying on. He did it in the moment with blood on his face and fight,
Yeah.
fight, that kind of thing. Therein lies another definition of a warrior. And I would argue our presidents should be warriors.
Yeah, and you know what? To his fault or to his benefit, he has a massive ego,
Yeah.
as we know. But when he says, I don't have to be doing this, he's completely right. At this age and with the life he's had, he truly is doing this because he does think he can make a difference, and he feels the country needs him. And say what you want, I he gets my support despite my massive number of criticisms I have for him.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing: you're never going to fault him for loving our country.
Well, and yeah, he's a warrior for our country.
He's a warrior for the
You're right.
country.
He doesn't a billionaire, despite what everybody wants to say about it. He's bankruptcies or
Terry
whatever.
Beasley,
Hey Terry,
afternoon.
hope you're feeling good, bud. Thank you for joining us. But Trump is a warrior. As sure as there's a warrior, Trump's a
Yeah.
warrior. Let me show you another warrior real quick. You ever seen a marathon in the Olympics or any other, track and field event? Marathoners are not only warriors, they're crazy. I mean, to run 26.2 miles in what I think the world records are around 2 hours for men, 2 hours and 15 minutes, something like that. But if you imagine, I mean, even the good ones, obviously they're going to be in excruciating, I would think, agony or discomfort as they get down to the end. But imagine the female who's at the 24th mile and her legs have simply become almost inoperable, and they're like rubber, and we've seen the videos of them of their falling down, and they can't control bodily functions, and they get up and they take 10 steps and fall back down, and yet they might accept a little bit of help, but they're not going to come short of that finish line. They are warriors. They are warriors in as much as anybody else that we've talked about as a warrior. And then the last one we want to share with you is the ultimate warrior of all, in my opinion, and that's Jesus. And most of you have seen, if not all of you have seen the movie. Sammy's going to show you a scene out of it, but here's we're going to take just probably 30 seconds, 40 seconds here and let you see this. So Sammy, hit it. Yep. So Jesus was 33 years old when that happened to him, and he knew it was coming.
Fulfillment of the prophecies.
Changed his commitment to that fulfillment. He knew what you just watched was going to happen to him physically, and we're not going to get into all the gory details because most of us are aware of those. But the ultimate warrior is a man who said, "I will take this on, and I will fulfill it And he did. And so much so that the night before that happened, in the Garden of Gethsemane, as he was praying that in hopes that maybe he could convince God to let it pass, don't make me go through this, that he was sweating drops of blood, which are actually, I'm no doctor, but are actually capillaries inside your skin that are busting, and blood protrudes. So Jesus is the ultimate warrior. All that said, what I want to bring home is that Waxahachie is a wonderful place. We talked about that before. We talked about the the beauty of it, the pleasant nature of it, the home, the warmth, all that stuff. We I'm committed in warrior-like fashion to protecting Waxahachie, our community, the people that live here, our institutions, our way of life, from that which is attacking the rest of the world and overwhelming it. And so a warrior is someone who says, this is what I'm committed to. It is right in my mind. It is what I want to do. It's my purpose, and I'm not going to fall short.
And on a day in and day out basis, you need to commit yourself to what you believe in, whatever the struggle or whatever the conflict is. Don't run from it. Face it head on.
Yeah.
Give it everything you got.
Yeah, it's like Trump sometimes. He like Trump insofar as he doesn't have to do it,
Yeah,
and he could quit any moment and go back to a simpler life. He chooses not to do that. We can choose as warriors to our purpose to not to give up. And I will tell you, I'm only going to mention this small thing of my column yesterday, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. Got a lot of reaction, and most of it wasn't very nice. It would be simple for me to say, at 63 years old, I don't need to take that abuse. But
right.
luckily, I've figured out how to, because of friends like Jeff and the others that can help me process it. I just carry on, and it doesn't deter me. It makes me more focused. But there are times when I'm like, what am I doing?
Right.
And spending all this money to keep a media company alive is something that, man, it's a tightrope, but it's important that we do this. Even if you
Amen.
disagree with us, my hope is that you appreciate the fact that we're here and that we're keeping people in Waxahachie informed.
That's right.
So anyway, there you go. Be a warrior.
Hey, Sam, you got DoorDash coming from Cancun's here at 1:15, right? Okay.
Cancun, Sammy's a Cancun's man too. So Cancun's is one of our sponsors. Can always tell when Jeff's hungry because he brings up Cancun's about this time every Tuesday and Thursday. But Cancun's is a sponsor of Grit and Good News. Cancun's, wonderful Tex-Mex restaurant, just about 2.5 miles north of 287 on 77. It's in front of Atwoods, if you know where that is. If you're going north, it's on the west side, on the left. If you're coming south, it's on the right side. You can't miss it. And it's a wonderful restaurant. Very nice ambiance, very nice servers, very nice people, great food. If you spend 20, well, first you got to go to our app called Down Home. So if you're a Google Android or an iPhone Apple person, you can go to the Google Store. I don't think they call it that. What do they call it? Google Play Store. Okay, the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. Just search Down Home. You will see it. It's a little kind of a ocean blue logo.
The App Store and the Apple Store are different. I found that out the hard way recently.
The App Store and the Apple. Yeah, no, that's true.
Okay.
But you go to your app store on your phone, and you get put in Down Home. You'll see it there. So go to Down Home app. You'll see a coupon section. You'll see in that coupon section a coupon from Cancun's that says if you spend $20, which you will, even if you're by yourself, given the rate of inflation today, you're going to spend $20 most likely. If you do, when you do, you show that coupon, you get a free order of sopapillas, warm honey, very good sopapillas. So Cancun's, they're a great restaurant. My wife and I love them, and you will too. So thank you, Cancun's. All right, let's talk about the column. I left the dang paper. Sammy, you didn't bring a paper over, did you?
No, I did.
You did? Okay. So yesterday, every Thursday, we talk about the column from yesterday, and we have yesterday's column was the endorsement column of Donald Trump. I want to in 2016 when we were running the Daily Light, we also endorsed Donald Trump. We were one of 5 newspapers in America to endorse Donald Trump at the Daily Light. Well, 8 years later, we're still endorsing Donald Trump, and so I give what I believe is the uh, case for why Donald Trump should be back in the presidency, back in the White House, back to being America's leader, and we're going to talk a little bit about it. I do want to say that, not unexpectedly, as I just kind of mentioned a minute ago, the column did generate quite a bit of response online, and most of that response was negative. Most of that was,
Which is fine.
it is
This is
fine.
American. It's
Yeah,
great. And guess where this
I
column runs?
expected it. Yeah,
It's on the opinion page.
yeah,
This is not a news article.
yeah. So, uh, so my opinion didn't go well with those on the left, obviously. What I have just anecdotally, what I have learned about how people on the left versus people on the right communicate about things they don't necessarily like, uh, or if they do like it, I get an equal number of comments usually that are positive from people who are like-minded, but that's always direct. They will,
Right.
because at the end of the column it says if you want to reach Scott, just Scott at waxhatchyson.com. They will do it directly or text me.
Scott,
Those
do you think that column changed anybody's opinion one way or the other?
probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. I don't know how many independents are within readership shot of
Right.
that column. I'm sure there are some, but but my purpose is to say, based on what I know, based on what I've researched, based on what my view of the world is, I think Trump is best for this country, and as a result, best for Waxahachie. But it's just my opinion, and it's my opinion alone. While most of the people that work at the Sun are agree, I don't go around asking them that, and I don't represent them. I represent that's why my picture's on
Hmm.
there and my name. If it were like many newspapers, if it were of the view of the newspaper, it would say our view or our opinion or our endorsement. This is simply me saying this is why I think Donald Trump is the better choice for the presidency. But back to how people express their opinions about my opinion, those on the right are direct, write me directly and are very kind. Those on the left who disagree go public with it and go well below the belt, as they say in boxing, which again is fine. But and sometimes, like, it's entertaining. I read to Jeff before we came on the show, one of them that told me I need to fresh up on my junior high newspaper journalism skills. And she's probably right, although I'm not a journalist. She's probably right. But
But you know what? Her name is on her
yeah,
Facebook page, and people know who wrote that. And guess what? She's being a warrior in
yeah,
her way
in
for what
her
she
own
believes.
purpose.
And that is what
I would
we like
much
about
rather,
America, right?
I would much rather have that. I would much rather somebody take me to task in whatever way they want to, as long as it's not violence.
Hmm.
Uh, and Than somebody who just either one doesn't really, they're like milk toast, or who doesn't
I love that term, by the
yeah, well,
way.
or either or someone who feels that way but never says it to me, but to
Hmm.
everybody else.
Hmm.
I much prefer the forum in which we have for people to express their opinions, good or bad, love or hate, doesn't matter. I just like the engagement. Now, if I were to sit down and have a discourse with those folks, I
Hmm.
wouldn't even try to convince them, because there's no point in it. Just like
Right,
they shouldn't try to
right.
convince me, because they're not going to get me to change my mind. However, we could at least have a civil discussion.
A civil discussion,
So,
and when I was getting ready for this section, I started writing down some notes about things I like about Donald Trump and things I don't like, and then similar about Kamala. There was mostly dislikes,
mhm.
but I made a note to myself, and I've told you this story, and I don't think I've ever mentioned this on this show, but uh, I am so concerned with the divisiveness in our country. It has never, ever, ever been worse. And um, I reference a conversation I had with a very liberal sibling of mine who I try to stay away from political discussions with because um, neither one of us is likely to change either's opinion, and then it's just going to result in problems. And I was having this discussion about the divisiveness with him, and I said, you know, it really bothers me. And he came back and he said, yeah, it bothers me too. And you know why it exists? I said, no, no, tell me. He goes, it's because of those darn Republicans. And I
Yeah.
go, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. And so I guess my biggest question now, in the few minutes we have left on this subject, is which of the two could possibly, somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose.
True.
Okay. And, and how do we unite the country either way? And which one in office could do a good job of putting out the olive branch and bringing in the other side that's so much disliked.
Yeah, I mean, if I had the answer to that, I'd sell it and be a multi-trillionaire.
Right.
But I will say this: the country, we have to be willing to be united. We have to be willing to put down all of this. People, you can call it vitriol, anger, hate, bitterness. We've got to be willing to put that down and say, okay, we got to do what's best for our country. And and right now we're not, as a society, we're not willing to do that. We're just, my column, the response to my column is obvious. It's a microcosm of a bigger issue, and that is the, there is no feeling of or willingness to unite. There's and I don't know, is what's sad is that as long as Trump is in the picture, and I believe Trump's going to win in a couple of weeks, I don't know that it will ever be possible. And so it's
Yeah.
I just don't know with Trump being in the picture. And not sometimes I say to people, well, let me go back. Let me just
With either one,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, let
it's a
me
bad thing.
some people have said to me, why do I appreciate and like Trump so much? Well, I tried to tell people in my column yesterday, but let me just share a couple things with you. This data here, let me tell you the sources of what I'm about to read to you. The sources are Federal Reserve, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Energy Information Agency, and NASDAQ are the sources for the information I'm going to share with you. And there's no partisanship here. It's the government putting out these statistics just based on actual facts, the realities. So,
But you know what? This is kind of like when they ask Kamala a question and she goes the other direction.
yeah,
What you're going to do is you're going to show statistics here showing that the country's better off now with Trump than Biden.
right.
But the real question I'm getting at is how can we unite? And I can think of two presidents in modern history. One's a Democrat and one's a Republican that um, after the election, people of both parties really ended up liking that president. Who was the Democrat?
Well, it's probably going to be Bill Clinton. If you're going back earlier than that, I
Well,
don't know.
I'm going to
Or
say
Obama.
he died in Dallas.
Oh, you're talking about Kennedy. Yeah, so you're going
You
back
know what? I
Kennedy.
mean,
Yeah,
everybody loved
yeah,
Kennedy, even if you weren't a Democrat.
right.
And the other one they just had the movie was
Reagan.
about Ronald
Yeah,
Reagan. And
yeah.
I don't think either of our candidates can do that, and that's what scares me.
Yeah, I agree. I think both Kennedy and Reagan, and both had faults, both
Right.
had opposition, but both seemed to be interested in putting the country first. And I just don't think, given what we've experienced in the past 8 years, that anyone on the left is going to be willing to unite with Trump in the picture.
And you
Uh,
can't those
but
MAGA Republicans aren't going to either.
right.
That's the bad thing
Here's
here.
the question. The proverbial question is, well, are you better off now than you were
Hmm.
when Trump was in presidency? And the truth is, people, even on my column, people were saying the economy's great, stock market's up. Those are platitudes. They may be facts insofar as the stock market being up, but the economy is not great. Just, I'm not going to take a whole bunch of time here, but inflation. When Trump was in office, the annual inflation rate was 1.89%. The average Biden's inflation rate in the almost 4 years that he's been in office is 5.28
Per year.
per year. Yeah. So the compound of that is much higher, almost 20%.
Yeah.
It's right there, 19.2%. Average gas prices, we were $2.49 with Trump, $3.50 with Biden. 30-year mortgage rates, 3.86 with Trump, 5.45 with
Ouch.
Biden. Average rent cost was up 11.8% when Trump was in office. Those costs are now up 21.6 with Biden. The NASDAQ, which is another stock market
Right.
indicator, was up 138% with Trump, up 40% with Biden. Listen to this. Grocery prices with Trump were up 6.5%. Grocery prices up with Biden on annual average 21%. Electricity up 4.2 with Trump, up 30% with Biden. And hourly wages, real hourly wages, up 6.8% with Trump, minus 2.2% with Biden. Now, for those of you who will say, oh, those are just, that's just talking point. This is the government provided, the current government provided this information. So there is no bias here. These are just straight up statistics. So when we ask, or we hear the question being asked, are you better off today than you were for when Trump was in office? There's no way you could be better
And
if
it
you grocery shop.
wasn't created for a comparison sheet. These are just the things that each of those departments put out on
As part of
a
their
regular
routine.
basis,
Yeah.
to report on things.
So when people say to me, how could you like Trump? I don't, look, King David in the Bible was a philanderer. He was a lunatic. He had mental problems. He was by God himself accused of being a murderer. Paul, the greatest apostle that ever lived, was for half his life, adult life, was a murderer of Christians, and yet became one of the most prominent spiritual people in the world in history. And so people can change. One is they can change. Number two is I'm not hiring Trump to be the most perfect person on the planet.
Right.
I'm not hiring, but voting for Trump. I'm not doing that for him to be the perfect person because he's perfect person in the world. It's because I think he leads our country and makes things much better for me and everybody else. So that's where I'm coming from.
All right. So in that light, let's flush divisiveness down the toilet. And I'm going to tell you, if you got a problem flushing your toilet,
Good one.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It came right up there.
Yeah, that was a good one.
We've got Mr. Reuter is one of our other great sponsors, and not only do they do both residential and commercial use, they have offices all over North America and have been in business since 1970. So that's 54 years of a nationwide company with, guess what? Local ownership. You're going to get the best of both worlds, the nationwide and the local. And here's what you can depend on always from Mr. Reuter. You're going to get licensed experts, insured plumbers, guaranteed parts and workmanship, courteous, uniformed professionals, locally owned and operated, as we indicated, and convenient appointment times. They're always going to be friendly with every client. They're going to arrive on time. You told me the other day Kamala showed up for her interview at 15 minutes after. They're going to keep your home clean with mats and shoe covers. They're going to provide the price before they start. They're going to deliver high quality, durable goods, and they're going to stand behind their work for your peace of mind. So, in the few times you need somebody, once you've had them there, they will be your plumbers for a lifetime here in this town. And I'll tell you how to get a hold of them. There's two ways. You can call 469 214 5179, and that is 469 214 5179. Or you can go to the famed www.mrreuter.com // Waxahachie, not New York City,
Waxahachie,
not Asheville,
Waxahachie,
not Vegas, Waxahachie.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Reuter. I was calling him Dr. Reuter earlier today. We appreciate both Cancun's and Mr. Reuter. All right, now it's time for He Said, and the discussion topic for today is
Jerry Jones,
Jerry Jones,
good or detrimental to team success?
Yeah. So if you just, I'll put you on the spot. In whatever context you want to consider it, the question is, does Jerry Jones, the owner of the Cowboys, which is now a $10 billion brand, does Jerry Jones make them better a team or worse?
I might take a kind of a dodge on that and not take it straight on. And here's why. Um, it's easy to say that he doesn't do a good job as a general manager. He is the only one that's not a general manager. It's easy to say he's too old, but I did a little analysis of the nature of ownership in the league.
Yeah.
Okay. And um, 80. So here's a breakdown of ownership by age.
Okay.
In the 80s or older, seven.
What?
7 owners in the
Oh,
80s.
yeah. Okay.
In the 70s, 13 owners.
Got it.
In the 60s, 7. In the 50s, 4. And then there's the Green Bay Packers who have the mutual ownership.
Right.
And if you get tired of Jerry, guess what? You're going to get a dose of Steven. And Steven is a clone of Jerry.
Jerry, yeah.
And whether he's going to have his own GM is another thing. But the league is full of second and third generation owners. And Virginia McCasley died at 101,
Right.
is the head of the Bears.
Right.
And she's from the Hallis, right?
Yeah.
Mike Brown from Cleveland, Paul Brown from Cleveland.
Yeah.
Janice McNear from the Texas, Bob McNear. The Christians of the Jets, well, they're the Johnson and Johnson family going
Right.
way back. Gail Benson of the Rams, married to Ann Walton family.
Mm-hmm.
John Mara of the Giants, the Mara family's been there forever. The DeBartolo family in San Francisco, the Spiro family in the Chargers. The youngest, who's the youngest owner in the league? He's got
Hunt.
Clark Hunt. And who was his father?
Yeah.
Lamar Hunt.
Yeah. Who
Okay.
started the league, right?
So,
he's of the Chiefs.
So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I here's the thing about Jerry. He is a great showman. He's a great businessman. He's continued to keep them America's team. Yes, Jimmy Johnson was probably the architect of those Super Bowl teams, but Jerry had something to do with it. So, the question is,
All right.
is he
All right,
detrimental?
Kamala.
Yeah.
Question. The question is, does he make the team better or worse in your mind?
I don't think any general manager is the whole.
I get it. I'm just saying
Yeah.
his piece of the his piece of the pie. He's the owner. He can do what he wants to. Usually does.
Yeah.
Is his opinion? I mean, not opinion. Is his contribution, in your opinion, does it help the team or worsen the team?
It hasn't helped them win a Super Bowl in a long time, and so I
right.
guess that's what we'll say.
Terry Beasley says it would be in best interest for the team and the fans for Jerry Jones to sell the team and have new ownership, hopefully one that has no ego. I agree there. Now, I don't know if there is such a
And you know what?
owner in any sport that doesn't have an ego.
When Jerry came in, he was a fresh breath compared to the old ownership, and so he did provide that. And
well, and look at the only time in the Cowboys' history since '89 when he bought it, that we've had real success, which means winning the Super Bowl, was when he delegated authority. Jimmy Johnson wasn't the GM, but for all practical purposes, he was. He was the coach.
Mhm.
Jerry Jones was new to it all. He let Jimmy Johnson do his thing, and the Cowboys won 3 Super Bowls.
Exactly.
And so if I'm answering the question, I'm saying that if you measure the success of the Cowboys based on their success on the field, which I think most people, we don't get in it to applaud Jerry Jones bringing the brand up to $10 billion.
Right,
None
right.
of us care about that. But he, as the owner, that might be his motivation, is to, I'm going to make this a $20 billion team. So if I'm able to get it from, he bought the team for $140 million. It's now worth $10 billion. So if his goal is to make the team more valuable and he's been doing it the way he's been doing it, then why would he stop if that's his goal? Why would he stop being a lousy general manager, dopey decisions, acting a fool most of the time, being delirious half the other time? How would he change that if it's going to increase the value of the team, if that's his purpose? My guess is he could be worth $100 billion, still be miserable because they cannot ultimately succeed on the football field. So if his goal, on the other hand, is to win a Super Bowl, why wouldn't he hire somebody that has the ability, somebody younger, somebody that's been around the league, somebody that has the charisma and the ability to make trades, make deals, hire great coaches, have great interaction, communications? Why wouldn't he do that? Instead, he's driving himself, I think, insane by doing this. We talked about this earlier, and maybe many of you have heard this, but Jerry Jones threatened the job of a talk show host, like
yeah.
what we're doing here. Two of them the other day, because they had the audacity to call him out for the poor decisions he's made, and it results in the team that we see on the field. We have no effective. There are a number of areas where our weaknesses are, but nothing. Our running back, we could have had what's his name, Sammy, the guy that went to the Baltimore. Derrick Henry. We could have had Derrick Henry instead. Jerry Jones sat on his hands.
He's got a house in Dallas.
Yeah, he does. He lives in Dallas, and
he wanted to come.
We could have had others. We could have addressed the needs we have in the draft or through trades, but we didn't get. We are not a very good football team, and for those of us who might believe we're going to be okay and be 11-6 again this year or whatever,
that's a tough road.
It ain't going to happen. And I'm here to defend Dak, and I'm here to defend Mike McCarthy, because as you can't expect somebody to succeed or win a race if you give them a jalopy.
You can't get blood out of a turnip,
or give them a car that's got 3 wheels instead of 4. You can't expect them to win. So I'm with Terry Beasley on this. I think Jerry Jones needs to wise up. And frankly, if Jerry Jones, even if Jerry Jones has ownership, I don't know if that's total ownership of the fan 105.3, but if I'm that announcer, even if I was younger and Jerry Jones said that to me, I'd say, bring it. Bring it.
Ego is a bad thing.
Yeah, Jerry Jones is getting raked over the coals for threatening the job of someone who is simply calling him out for being lousy at what he's doing, as he should be called out. All right, so I say the Cowboys are in trouble. Don't expect much more than what we've already gotten. There is no silver lining here. There's nobody hurt that's going to make us better when they come back. Who? Well, is he going to make us better? How many games did we win when he was here this year? He's a great player. I agree. He'll make us better, but maybe a game better. But
I didn't see much out of him this year, really, compared to what we've seen in the past.
I think. Well, if I'm a player and I see that our general manager or our owner or whatever, it's like owning the sun. If I don't address the needs that make us successful, my employees are going to say, "Well, what is Scott doing? I mean, this is bad. We got to do something." I imagine the players are saying, "What are we doing here? What are we doing?" Yeah. But Mike McCarthy is not the reason, and neither is Dak. So lay off of both of them. All right.
Okay.
There time. What's the time? What time is it, Sammy?
All we are saying is give peace a chance.
It's rhyme time. Ready? Are you ready? Oh, there's that beautiful sound of a 1950s typewriter. Ding. Ding, ding, ding. So let's hear it, brother. What do you got?
Okay. I try to always, as much as I can, have a timely reason for whatever poem I'm going to do that day. And today I was thinking about going last night to the Majestic Theater with my darling bride and a neighbor and watching the greatness of Lyle Lovett and his large band. And
You mean Mr. Julia Roberts? Yeah.
you can say that guy is not the best looking guy in the world, but he did marry about one of the best looking women. So what can you say about that?
Yeah.
He's still a good performer. And so I had written a poem in October of 2020. It appeared in my first book, 2020 Hindsights, and all of those poems are contained in my latest book, Latest Hindsights. And so this one is about musicians in my life that influenced me, and it's called "Playing in Heaven," and it goes something like this: Off to college in '73, going to climb the learning tree. Fake my way to a 2.7 GPA. I was exposed to music I still love today. 2020 has been tough, most would say. Now 3 of my favorites have passed
Away.
away. First, the great John Prine, a songwriter ever so fine. Then, Big Charlie D, never a better fiddler will you see. Now, Jerry Jeff Walker joins this list. Like John and Charlie, he'll be greatly missed. All 3 performed a mighty long time, but it's by their attitude that they'll be defined. A little bit rebel, a little bit outlaw. They called the shots, however they saw. They all could sing, they all could pick. I sing their songs by heart. They wrote lyrics that just stick. They're known as musicians. I regard them as poets. They've inspired me to tell it, however I know it. So R.I.P. to 3 great men. A damn fine trio now plays in heaven.
Very good. Yes. And that was written when? 2020?
2020.
Yeah. If you wrote that poem today, you would have to include a few more musicians.
Well, I did,
right?
and I did write a sequel about a month later.
Did
I don't
you?
know if you guys know Billy Joe Shaver,
No.
who was make room, oh heavenly trio. Good Lord, done brung up another musical hero. Billy Joe Shaver, the original outlaw, the inspiration to you all. He was a good God-fearing man. Now you've become a 4-piece band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Yep.
Yeah, that list never quits.
No, it doesn't, unfortunately. All right, there you have it. Great poetry. And again, you can get Jeff's books if you just write either one of us. You can get them at more places than the Sun. But if you write Scott@walksatyoursun.com or Jeff@walksatyoursun.com, you certainly can get the books that way. But there are a few other places where you can get them, right?
Yeah, Dove's Nest has them.
Yep.
Sweet Peas has them across from the courthouse, just a block across the street from us here.
Yeah.
And you can get them online at poetjeffreylynch.com, and I also have a poetry email, which is poetjeffreylynch@gmail.com. So all those ways to get them, and we do have a stock at the Waxahachie Sun office.
Yep. Very good.
Okay.
All righty. It is time, our fun time in the show. We certainly want people to
Let's go.
And I know this resonates because our show, we're happy to say, continues to grow. We're reaching I think getting close to about 1,000 views right now, 1,000 watches, whatever you want to call it.
Many of them don't come live.
They don't, and it's hard for us to find the right time to do it, and so most people when they're driving don't put on Facebook Sound or Twitch or TikTok. They put on the radio. So what we're finding is that most people at the end of the day or in the evening or whenever will watch it via our YouTube channel, which is the Waxahachie Sun, and you can find any edition there.
And you can find it just on the regular YouTube, not through.
Yeah,
you can go to
yeah,
Waxahachie Sun or YouTube, and our man Sam just told me this morning that he has done what magic he had to do. Now you can get past editions on Instagram, starting with today's show, right?
Yep.
Yesterday's
so
show.
these platforms you can watch them recorded. You just can't participate in them. You just have to watch. But we're finding most people are doing that, which we're cool with. Whatever. We just want to talk with people and build some positive discourse. All right.
So we're off to the races on Today in History. We all know the The rules at this point: 1 point to get it right, -1 to get it wrong. On a particular fact that I will give you an opportunity for, you get a bonus point to know that. If you hit it on the number, you get a bonus point for that. And we start with oldest to newest. And so we are going to start with British forces under General John Burgoyne, Burgoyne, surrendered in American troops in Saratoga, New York, in a turning point of the Revolutionary War.
Revolutionary. 1790.
1777.
He got it and I didn't.
Yeah.
Something wrong with that
by
picture.
1790, George Washington had been elected in
True, I
88.
can't
So
remember. I was close.
Saratoga, New York, they have a great racetrack up there in upstate New York, and that's where our man, former Cowboys coach Bill Parcells, the Tuna, hangs out up in Saratoga.
Yeah, it's a pretty part of the country.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm going to give you 2 opportunities here for the bonus, because when my wife read these to me this morning, sometimes I like to jump in just like when you buzz early in Jeopardy, because I knew where she was going. So I jumped in with one of these facts, and then I realized, and she said, well, there's another fact too, and see if you can get that. And I got the double bonus on this. Right. So here we go. Mobster Al Capone was convicted in blank, that is a city in America, of blank, that would be what he was convicted of, and he would be sentenced to 11 years in prison. Al Capone.
In Chicago.
Yes.
And he was convicted of murder?
Tax evasion, because you know what? They knew they couldn't pin any of the murders and the bootlegging and anything on him. Sherrington, Chicago, and tax evasion. Nice going, Sharon.
Google.
Good job. Quit saying she Googles.
That's a Google.
She controls the purse strings of your company, and then you beat her up. I don't know. Okay, so the year was 1909.
Oh, 1930.
1931.
Booyah.
Booyah.
So that makes me, I got +1, so that means I'm 2-1 now.
Okay. Albert Einstein arrived in the United States as a refugee from Nazi Germany.
1940.
The Nazis were pretty well done when World War II was over in 1946. He came in 1933, and that just showed.
I still got it right.
You said 40?
I said 40. He said 40 something. I said 40.
Okay, you're good at 33. Yeah. You know, it's people don't realize that the Nazis were rocking things back in 33, 7. I mean, way before you think about the war.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sharon got it wrong.
Okay.
See where else cheating does?
Okay. Hu Yi. Huyii. Huyii. The latest emperor of China died in Beijing at age 61.
Well, I wouldn't know, but
you know what?
I'm gonna say 1957.
I was say your birthday year, 61. 67, you got it. You're within 7. Okay.
Fights. Sharon got it wrong.
Mother 55, Sharon, that's when I was born. Mother Teresa of India was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Mother Teresa of India awarded the Nobel Peace
Prize. 79.
79? The bonus is in effect.
Oh, booyah.
Booyah.
That's the best year ever. That's when I graduated high school. Oh, so that makes me... Oh, Sharon. She's just listening to me, then typing hers in.
Okay. I'm so bad on earthquakes. I don't know how I got this one right. The Loma Prieta, Prieta earthquake, measuring 6.9 in magnitude, struck Northern California, killing 63 people and causing up to $10 billion worth of damage. The quake occurred just 30 minutes before the scheduled start of Game 3 of the World Series
Oh.
at Candlestick Park in San
All
Francisco.
right. Do you have any bonuses other than the year? Do
There's
you
no,
have?
no,
Oh, you
I used up
not
all.
even the teams.
The team is not listed here, and so no, I
There
have.
could be a bonus.
Quit
All
whimpering.
right, Sammy. 1989.
The bonus
See?
is in effect.
Rock and roll. So I got now I'm 7-2. Then got lucky. Okay.
Residents of the Florida Panhandle community of Mexico Beach, who had fled Hurricane Michael a week earlier, returned to find businesses and campers ripped to shreds. The storm had killed at least 59 people and caused more than 25 billion in damages in Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, and Virginia. Hurricane Michael. Jeffrey Michael Lynch.
I'm gonna say. Let me say it first, Sammy, so you can work off of mine. You know how it is. 2012.
2018.
You missed, Sammy. All right.
Okay. 94.
And she missed it too, right?
Mm.
Yeah. See there, all that cheating leads to this
Mhm.
bad record. So I am. Is that it?
That's it.
8-2.
I was 6-2. You beat me again this week. I hate it when that happens.
Well, you better get used to it.
I
It's
was
like the
afraid-
Cowboys. You might as well get used to it.
I was afraid you would know that San Francisco date.
Yeah, it
and
was-
so you got that extra. You got
And
the
you
bonus.
could. I
on
could
that.
have got all kinds of bonuses in there.
Yeah.
Oakland and San Francisco. Al Michaels called the game. The TV screen started shaking, and they canceled the game, and it was awful. Remember when in Oakland in Oakland they had, and I think they both it the same way, but they had highways or freeways or whatever, streets going one over the other, and so when that hurricane hit, it's what pancake. Yeah, but they did it for long. We have it when you go under, but no, these went that way and so they pancaked. I don't think anybody died at the stadium, but people were freaking out. The players were and the families were out on the field. I mean, it was incredible. You can YouTube it and see it. Yeah, I'll never forget that. All right, that's our show.
All these
for
things
today.
happened on
You know-
October 17th.
Well, we got isn't
Yeah.
that amazing?
Isn't it?
If you didn't get a chance to watch the interview with Kamala Harris and Brett Baer last night from Fox, it's worth watching. It's only 26 minutes long. Harris was late. She then filibustered about 25 of those 26 minutes, and it was quite Sharon called me a loser. Quite the experience to watch. So I hope you all get a chance to watch it. Jeff and I will be back. Let me just say, if there's anything else, we got the Bob Phillips, it's Texas Reporter Festival coming up next Saturday. It's Waxahachie's biggest festival. Tens of thousands of people are here, right down here on the square. It's a really wonderful experience. So plan on that. I think the weather's probably going to be pretty nice. Of course, the Indians football, they play tonight.
St. Joseph has their
no,
fall
tomorrow night.
fest
Yeah,
on Saturday.
okay.
One of the
So
best.
go to the Sun. Anytime you want to know what's going on at the Sun, just go to waxahachiesun.com and you can see a list of events going on in the city. You can go to our app as well, down home, and you can find those events. So thank you for being here. We love doing this for you and with you and about you. We'll be back on Tuesday at noon with all new topics, and we'll keep you informed. So with that, I'm going to sign off and say thank you again, Jeffrey.
And always remember, don't write a check that you cannot cash.
Amen.
Boom.